Hello and welcome. Today's lesson is on the Desmos Staar calculator, which is the calculator we're going to be using this semester. The objective of today's lesson is to use the Desmos Staar calculator to solve graphing and function notation problems. The calculator link is found on the It's Learning page right under the Zoom meeting link. All you have to do is click right there and that will take you to the calculator page. When you open the calculator, you will see the Desmos Texas Staar version calculator name right here on the top. And the page will look similar to this one. I ask you that when you open the calculator, click on the settings and unclick the minor grid lines and change the steps to 1. So every time you open the calculator, please follow these steps. Click on the settings, unclick the minor grid lines, and change the steps to 1 and 1. And this will create this nice graph that you see right here. Please note that this is the zoom in button and this is the zoom out button. So now the calculator will be ready to be used. Okay? Now for this particular lesson today, we're actually going to change our settings. So click on settings again, and we're going to change this to 2, just for today. And also when you do your assignment for this lesson, make sure you change this step to 2. Most of the time we're going to use step 1, but today we're going to use step 2. Okay? So there we go. So we're ready for today's lesson. So for this lesson, we're going to do 4 problems or 4 examples. And here's the first example, which is the correct graph of the equation given. So here I give an equation and I have 4 graphs and I need to decide which one of these graphs corresponds to this equation. Now I can use the calculator to help me. Okay, because I have the y alone, I can click on the Desmos calculator, click right there, and enter the equation starting with the y. Y equals -3 over 2, right arrow, x plus 1. And if you notice, as I wrote the equation, the calculator drew me the graph. And I can move my mouse over there and I can see that the y-intercept is at 1. And I also notice that I have a negative slope. So with that in mind, I notice that my first multiple choice has y-intercept and -1. So let me change this to red, make it a little bit thicker. And because this is a -1, I know this is wrong because on my Desmos calculator, my y-intercept is a +1. Also notice this is a negative slope. Letter C is a positive slope, so I also know this is wrong. Now these two have negative slopes and they both cross at 1. So I'm going to have to take a closer look at my graph here and let's look at the slope. The slope here, if you remember, here's a good point and here's a good point, and I go down 1, 2, 3, and I run 2 to the right. So down 3, 2 to the right, which is the slope, -3 over 2. So if I go over here and I choose 2 good points on the line, so let's choose this good point right here and right there. And if I check, I'm going to go down 3 squares, so -3, and I'm going to run 2. Okay, now if I check this graph right here, this is a good point, and this is another good point. And this one I'm going down 2, and I'm running 3. Now, So that means the slope here is negative 3 over 2, and this one here is negative 2 over 3. So I know for sure that is letter B is my answer. So I check there, press the arrow, and I see that I got the right answer. Let's try the next problem. The next problem, I do not have the y alone. And for the calculator to help me, I need to have the y alone. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my problem down a little bit so I have space here to write my problem. You can also do this on a piece of paper. So I'm going to copy my equation, and I want to get the y alone. So basically, to get the y alone, I'm going to send the x to the other side. So this would be 5y equals negative x, and I bring down the 10. Now the y is not alone, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. And this would be y equals, remember this is negative 1, so negative 1 divided by 5 is negative 1 over 5, x, and 10 divided by 5 is positive 2. Okay. If you remember, negative 1 divided by 5, you can use this calculator for that. You can click the x right there, negative 1 divided by 5, and gives me a decimal. To change to a fraction, you click right there, and it gives me negative 1 over 5. Okay, so that's how I got negative 1 divided by 5 is negative 1/5. Okay, so right there, I got the y alone. So with this, I have the equation that I can write on the calculator. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's click that, and click y equals negative 1 over 5, arrow to the right, x, and then plus 2. So if you notice right there, it drew me the line, and I can see that the line touches the y-axis right here at 2, so my y-intercept is at 2. And I also notice that I have a negative slope. So let's look over here. Here I have a positive slope, so that's incorrect. On the problems here on the bottom, so let me move this up a little bit. I notice that these guys right here don't even touch the y-intercept 2, so it's not this one, and it's not this one. This is the only one that has y-intercept at 2 with a negative slope, which matches this guy right here. So for sure, we know that the answer is going to be letter B. Click B, click there, and we got the green light. Now for the next two problems, it's going to be function notation problems. If you remember, this is called function notation. Also remember that this number here is the value of x. So this is the function of x equals 7 minus parenthesis 2 minus x parenthesis squared. So remember that h of x is the same thing as writing y. So when we go here to the calculator, let's click here, and we're going to click y equals 7 minus open parenthesis 2 minus x close parenthesis, and the square, you click right there and you will find the square right there. Okay, now I'm going to click this little wheel right here, and when you click that, you're going to see a little table next to your function. When you click there, it's going to provide you with a table. Now remember that our first problem here, the x value is -3. We don't have -3 here. All we have to do is click there and change that to -3, and it's going to give you the answer, -18. So you go here, click -18, and you get a green line. So that means it's correct. Let's do the next problem, number 4. So we click there, we click the X there, and we're going to enter the new equation, which is y equals, let's take a look again, 8 parentheses, so -8 parentheses 5 minus x, close parentheses, and square. And we click the wheel, and we click the table, and in this particular problem we want the value of -1 for x. Well, it so happened that -1 is already there, so we don't have to change anything. So all we have to do is, and -1 is -288. Okay, very well. So this concludes our lesson. Today we learned how to use the Desmos calculator to solve problems with graphing and function notation. Please remember, for this assignment, you want to click right here and change the step to 2 and 2 and unclick the minor grid lines. Okay? Thank you very much for your time. I hope this lesson was helpful. Have a great day, and bye-bye.